sauce the boss in the building.
Moment, but what showed up in the photograph was anything but ordinary. If you look at the top left side of the image, there it is, a strange humanoid figure just standing in the background. At first glance, it almost blends in, but the more you look, the more chilling it becomes. The figure looks like a woman in what seems to be a robe with short curly hair. None of the people present recall seeing anyone like that in the house. In fact, no one noticed anything unusual until they looked at the photograph later. There's something ghostly about her presence, the way she just stands there completely still, barely noticeable. She doesn't look pixelated or glitched like you'd expect from a camera era. She looks real, too real. Samuel didn't provide much context either. He didn't say if he recognized her or if maybe someone who once lived or died in that house might have resembled her. But what we do know is that there were 4 individuals physically in that room, so who was the 5th figure in the photo?
That's an airplane that's going on. Oh my god.
It's an asteroid for sure, dude. Your shower? No, it's an asteroid that just exploded when it hit the fucking, what's it called? Atmosphere.
Moving on from that, we take to the skies where we see something that you don't typically see. At first, I thought it was a shooting star, but clearly it's not, and it's got smaller orb-like structures around it. Unlike many of the processed videos we see, this one seems to have unfiltered audio with a lot of wind and comments in the background, which gives it some legitimacy. Now, the individual who allegedly recorded and uploaded this didn't share any more information because he didn't have any. He had questions, and the community had theories. He initially thought it was an asteroid, and he can even be heard saying that in the clip. The community didn't, however, share his view. Some believed this was a man-made craft making a re-entry. Others thought it was aliens. A few in the community asked whether it was filmed and wondered if it could be SpaceX. The uploader, however, didn't respond. It's almost like he vanished after posting. Some think the government got him, whilst others think he simply made the whole clip up. Hard to say which it is, but what do you think?
An asteroid hit the atmosphere.
We've talked about chemtrails a lot on this channel. You know, those strange trails in the sky that people swear aren't just harmless condensation. Whether it's weather modification, mind control, or something even deeper, the theory's out there, and for good reason. Too many of us have seen patterns, footage, and effects that don't quite add up. But the clip we're looking at today hits something else entirely. There's no plane in sight, just the chemtrail and a shadow, a clear dark streak running alongside it in the sky, and that's what's so strange. If there's no plane, what exactly is casting that shadow? It doesn't move, it just lingers perfectly aligned like it's stretched into the clouds. I've watched it frame by frame and it still doesn't make any sense. Some are saying it's a trick of the light or atmospheric illusion, but others think it's proof of something being projected or hidden from view. Whatever it is, it's unsettling.
After being a loyal Verizon customer for over 20 years, I was satisfied with their service, but the price
A man shared this interesting video he took from the top of a building. He had his camera pointed down, casually filming the street below, just the usual houses, cars, and quiet street life. And then this happened. Out of nowhere, a beam of light shoots straight down from the sky and strikes the ground. Where it hits, there's a brief flash, a burst of flames, and then it's gone. All that's left is a small cloud of smoke rising from the impact point. Now let's take a closer look. That wasn't lightning. No thunder, no storm, and it didn't have the flicker or scatter you usually see with natural strikes. This looked controlled and precise, almost like it was fired from something. But there's no visible source, no aircraft, no drones, no satellite trails, nothing. And that's exactly why people are now speculating that this could be a DEW, a direct energy weapon. These are advanced weapons designed to fire focused energy beams that can strike with pinpoint accuracy and leave little to no trace behind except, well, a fireball and smoke, apparently. But skeptics are saying this is all a setup. They argue it's just another staged hoax with how conveniently the guy had his camera rolling at that exact moment. A man decided to explore an old, abandoned mine. It was one of those late afternoon adventures that quickly slipped into nightfall. And as he walked deeper into the tunnel, the only thing that greeted him was silence, at first. But not long after, he started to hear strange noises echoing from somewhere in the darkness. The sounds were distant at first, but then they kept getting louder, almost like something was moving under there with him. Curiosity or maybe something else pushed him further in. Eventually, he came to a rusted metal barricade deep within the mine. Beyond it, everything was pitch black. But the noises were louder now, definitely not his imagination. He held up his phone past the barricade into the darkness, and that's when he saw it. Something was walking out of the shadows, slowly, cautiously. It had long, spindly limbs, far too thin to be a human. The way it moved, the way its form stretched unnaturally, didn't look like anything that should exist down there. As soon as the man laid eyes on it, panic set in. He didn't stick around to get a better look. He turned and ran as fast as he could out of that mine. Even though the footage was brief, the image still lingers. That thing in the tunnel, whatever it was, did not belong down there. What do you think he saw in that mine?
What was it, girls? Get you? Did you guys hear that, though? Yeah. Possible Wendigo. Sounds like a couple of them.
The man had gone out in the woods for a peaceful walk with his two Rottweilers. It was just supposed to be a relaxing stroll deep into the quiet forest. After some time, they reached a river hidden in the heart of the woods. The man settled there for a bit, letting the dogs wander off to play along the edge of the trees. But that calm did not last long. Suddenly the dogs came bolting back, ears pinned, tails tucked, completely panicked. Something had scared them badly. And then he heard it. A loud, bone-chilling screech. The sound seemed to twist through the forest, bouncing off the trees in ways that made it impossible to tell exactly where it was coming from. Now, most people would probably jump to the usual suspects like skinwalkers, wendigos, maybe even a banshee. These are names that come up a lot when people report hearing terrifying cries deep in the woods. But this time, some folks suggested something different, the Amazon death whistle. A mysterious ancient artifact from South America that, when blown, emits one of the most unsettling human-like screams you will ever hear. It's not just loud, it pierces you. Some believe it was used by warriors to strike fear into their enemies or possibly to summon spirits. But what would a sound like that be doing in the middle of a random forest far from the Amazon? Was someone or something trying to scare him away, or was it just a coincidence that this strange cry matched that of the infamous whistle? To this day, the man swears he didn't see a single thing, but he heard it, and judging by how fast his dogs ran, they heard it too. What do you think was hiding in those trees?
What was it, girls? I get you? Did you guys hear that, though? Yeah. Possible Wendigo. Sounds like a couple.
Are imaginary friends really just imaginary? A man was playing hide and seek with his daughter when she decided to crawl under the table to hide. Nothing strange, right? But when the little girl told her dad that her imaginary friend wanted to join the game too, he laughed it off, thinking it was just typical kid stuff. Still, for fun, he decided to film it. The camera catches his daughter crawling out from under the table and walking to the other side of the room. But as the camera follows her movement, there it is. Someone else appears briefly in the frame. Just for a second, a small figure about the same size as his daughter, but with long, dark hair. It moves quickly and then ducks out of view. Take another look. Right there. It's fast, but it's definitely not a trick of the light or a weird angle. It really does look like another child. But here's the thing. The man says it was just him and his daughter in the house. No visitors, no sleepovers, no siblings. And that's when he began to wonder. Was that his daughter's imaginary friend? What if some of these imaginary friends kids talk about aren't so imaginary after all? But skeptics are also saying that the whole thing is staged.
Building your online business? Go to Wix.com and set up your store on a single integrated platform.
In the paranormal community, there's a strong belief in alternate realities, and surprisingly, even some branches of science support the idea. The theory goes that we all have alternate versions of ourselves living out different lives based on the decisions we didn't make. Parallel timelines where everything is the same except just slightly different. A woman recently shared a story online and it's got a lot of people talking. She said she was at the mall casually shopping when she noticed a woman who looked exactly like her. And not just in the face, this woman had the same hairstyle, the same body shape she used to have 15 years ago. But that's not all. The woman had 3 kids with her. 2 of them looked exactly like the children she has now, but the third, well, that one shook her. Years ago, this woman had a miscarriage. The child she lost was a boy, and in this moment, standing in front of her was a woman who looked just like her, with 2 familiar children and a 3rd child, a boy who would have been about the same age as the one she lost. She was shocked. But she didn't take any pictures or videos. She just stared, trying to make sense of what she was seeing, and then she ran straight home. She shared an old photograph of herself from back then with her 2 children at the time, saying that they looked exactly the same. But we cannot confirm without this evidence, so could this woman have been an alternate version of herself?
Haircut that I just showed you, but they looked like this. Like I was too stunned to do anything. All I could do was sit there and watch her. Watch me? Us? I don't know. But the even crazier part is there was a boy that was with us. He was a little bit older than my oldest daughter, and the craziest part about that is I had a miscarriage when I was 18, and I knew it was a boy. But I sat there for like 2 seconds, and I watched them, and they looked so happy. And then reality hit me, and I realized, like, what the fuck is going on? And it scared me, and I just took off.
This next footage was captured high above Texas by a pilot flying at 45,000 feet. He noticed a strange light flickering in the sky, just hovering there. At first, it was a single light glowing faintly, and then it simply vanished, but that was not the end of it. Shortly after, 2 more lights appeared floating in the same area. No one had a solid explanation for what these lights could be. The most popular theory is UFOs, just like many of the strange, shiny orbs we've seen in the sky before. However, some skeptics point out that as the camera moves, so do the lights. This leads them to believe it might just be reflecting on the camera lens, not actual glowing orbs in the sky. But even then, the timing, the way they disappear and reappear, well, it's all a little too eerie.
Wait. The boat stops position, and then it goes away. What is that? And then there's two more. Where? Right below it. Where? Wait, where? There's another one.
Olive oil is often praised as one of the healthiest oils we can consume. So anytime we see something labeled as olive oil in a video or in a store, we automatically assume it's healthy, but not so fast. There's something out there called olive oil blend, and it's made up of 90% canola oil and only 10% olive oil. Now, the problem is canola oil isn't exactly the best option for your health. Studies have linked it to inflammation, and some say it's not great for your heart either. But because it's much cheaper than real olive oil, many brands mix it in and still label the product olive oil. So while these blends may look like a more affordable choice, they come at a cost: your health. Always check the label. If it doesn't say 100% extra virgin olive oil, it's probably being blended with something else. And remember, cheaper isn't always better, especially when it comes to what you put in your body. We got another strange UFO sighting that was shared by an observer flying over the Atlantic Ocean. This time, it wasn't just a light, it was a glowing red formation behind the clouds. From the footage, it seems like some kind of shape or pattern hiding just behind the clouds layer, but it's hard to say exactly what it is. Some people believe it looks a lot like a UFO or even a fleet of them. Interestingly, a few pointed out that the light formation kind of resembles the Pleiades star cluster, also known as the Seven Sisters, and honestly, they're not wrong. You can kind of see the resemblance. But what's throwing everyone off is the color, that intense red glow. And since it's tucked behind the clouds, we never really get a clear look at what's creating the light. So what do you think? Is it just a weird atmospheric event or something more? A man recently bought a new house and moved in not too long ago, but soon after settling in, he started experiencing some strange things happening around the place. And you will because, well, they didn't want to get sued, but just consider this as an alert or friendly advice to check your meat sources and thoroughly cook them before eating. If you like to have your meat rare or medium rare, well, I'd be careful. Very careful. This photo was taken back in 2015 by a man named Samuel. He was just hanging out in the living room with 3 other people. 2 were across the room chatting, and 1 was lying on the couch glued to their phone. It was nothing out of the ordinary, just a chill night. Samuel deeper in the earth. This indicates that who or whatever it is must be very heavy. Sensing the sounds drawing nearer, the hiker wisely cut his adventure short, scared that he had a twinge of excitement about joining the ranks of trail cam celebrities. Stepping away from potential hoaxes, take a look at this footage. Did you see it? A creature quickly runs across the camera frame. The creature's brown fur and impressive size left us in awe. Bears don't run like that, and no chimpanzee or gorilla is capable of moving on its 2 feet like that. That leaves us with just one suspect: Bigfoot. However, there's one peculiar thing. The Bigfoot in this footage appears considerably smaller than any we've featured on this channel. Could we actually be looking at a young or juvenile Bigfoot? My team and I certainly do think so, but what about you? This capture was sent to us by a subscriber on this page. This trail cam capture is as confusing as they get. We're unable to decipher and tell what we're actually looking at. It looks like a dark cloud of some sort. Perhaps a forming apparition from another dimension, or a cloud of insects or something of that sort, as it appears to be moving as well. We just can't tell what it is.
About you, and it's no one else like you is what they're getting. Positive vibes only. Shout out to King Saul's boss in
this
the building.
footage was captured by individuals who went into an abandoned hospital to see what they could find. Once I read this, my mind was like, what else do you expect to find in the hospital? Anyway, if you pay attention to the footage, you'll see that he is the last in his group since he's recording. When he turns around with the camera, however, we see another frail, weak-looking man behind him. Within some seconds, however, this image of the man suddenly disappears, which leaves you wondering, what just happened? Well, some believe it's a ghost. Well, actually, all believe it's a ghost, and I don't see any other explanation for it. Do you? This footage starts off as an innocent one of buffaloes, and it might have stayed that way if you don't pay attention to the footage. But once you start paying attention, you see it. There in the top right corner of the clip, there's a figure moving from the right to the left. Judging by its size in relation to the buffaloes we see, we can tell it's massive because if you know anything about buffaloes, you know that they are massive. But what could that be? You don't need to be an expert to know we are definitely dealing with a Bigfoot. Although it's quite the distance in the footage, you can tell there's some fur there and it's got a human-like stride. There's no other being in existence that's got both features going for it except the Bigfoot. But what do you make of the whole thing? Share your thoughts with me in the comments section. We have seen strange things on this channel, but none compared to what I'm about to show you. Are you ready? Have a look. The forest seemed to share a collective sense of trepidation, echoing the fear emanating from this enigmatic presence. Despite the pulse-quickening encounters and the primal instincts urging retreat, our brave traveler stood resolute. Yet there comes a time when even the boldest souls heed the warnings whispered by the wilderness. After a few scares and ultimately seeing what was behind the eerie sounds, he takes to his heels, literally. A slow-mo of the capture reveals the creature responsible for it all, a dark, cloaked figure towering among the trees. This leaves us with more questions than answers. What do you think this creature is? Some have suggested a skinwalker and others a shapeshifter. What say you? Do you think the whole thing is real at all? Share your thoughts with me in the comment section. For our next footage, perhaps I should just allow you to watch it and tell me what you think. So, what do you think about the footage you've seen so far? You do see the trees in the background, don't you? And you do see the structure to the left side of the screen, right? As interesting as those things might be, they can't compare to the hairy creature. You see the hairy creature too, right? What is it? Well, no one can say for sure, but given the fact that the trail cam capture is from a secluded area without any bears or apes, all who have seen the photo believe it's Bigfoot. Frankly, there's little evidence to prove or disprove it, so we're gonna sit out passing judgment for this one. Our next clip was taken in the Congo. The clip features an interesting experiment where a small rock is connected to an LED light with wires, causing it to light up. In the next part of the clip, two larger rocks are brought together, creating sparks of electricity and fire. This experiment hints at the possibility of groundbreaking technology involving rocks that can generate electricity. The implications of this discovery are fascinating. This could mean potential for innovative applications and advancements. If rocks can produce electricity, it could lead to transformative effects in various fields, offering new opportunities for sustainable energy solutions. Sadly, though, I feel this isn't real. If you haven't already hit the like button, subscribed, or even dropped a comment so far, could you please do so now? It goes a long way to help us make more videos like this for you. Thank you so much. Now back to today's episode. For our next clip, we have what can only be described as a mystery. Take a look. In this footage, we're transported to a misty forest where a mix of fully grown trees and partially chopped ones creates an eerie atmosphere. As the camera pans, our attention is drawn to an unusual sight between the trees. According to the uploader, there's a weird-looking creature there. He speculates it's ape-like, but not large enough to be a Sasquatch. Personally, though, I've looked at it several times and failed to see anything beyond the dark shadow. Do you? If you do, please describe it in the comments section. In this footage, we witness a figure donning blue boots navigating through cluttered surroundings, their determination unwavering despite the ominous atmosphere. With each step, the explorer delves deeper into the mysterious realm, the obscurity of the environment offering only fleeting glimpses of their surroundings. Despite the eerie ambience, this brave individual proceeds with a sense of purpose, seemingly undisturbed by the enigmatic setting. If you listen attentively, you should hear the peculiar sounds that disrupt the tranquility and silence of the night that should accompany the scene. The explorer starts off confident, but soon the explorer's confidence wavers, replaced by a primal instinct of self-preservation. This response is relatable. When confronted with the unfamiliar, our innate fight-or-flight response often takes over. Amid the uncertainty, whispers of words, perhaps prayers or expressions of vulnerability can be heard. If I were in his shoes, I would pray too. But what could have been responsible for that noise? Unfortunately, we don't have the answers. Do you?
Porque María vivió eso una vez menos. Eso se lleva todo.
about you, and it's no one else like you is what they're getting. Positive vibes only. Shout out to King Saul's Balls in the building.
My fault. The beats is blasting. The beats is beating. We got some shit to unbox because you know we have new decks on the way. Wait, new waves for the play bay. Tell them to go play with their mother. Coño, pero yo.